What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you my joint second place Exodia OTK profile. Now of course this is Exodia Millennium because that's just the way the deck can be operated at its maximum potential right now. Now I really have had a lot of fun with this deck. My matchups were Evil Eyes, which is very interesting because they kind of was able to outgrind me. That was my only loss. My other matchups were Yugioh, which is again was very grindy, but I was able to kind of, obviously that was probably the one that I was worried about the most, but that's where Obliterate comes into play, and I'll talk you through that a little bit later on. I then also ended up facing Gimmick Puppet FTK and Memento Fiendsmiths, which is both very tricky, but this deck was designed to kind of deal with the Fiendsmith engine and also deal with the option of a FTK running around, which I'll show you in the main deck as we go through it. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. I'm also going to show you my demo side deck at the end of the video as well, so you can see what I was playing, what I was subbing in, and the reasons that I was using it. So starting off with the monsters, of course, you do play Exodia, the Forbidden One, all of the pieces here. This is the annoying bricks of the deck because you have to play them because you need to reveal all 5 pieces for your Ankh, and you also need to be able to equip all 5 pieces with the spell card Obliterate as well. But it is what it is. You still need to be able to play an Exodia deck to play Exodia. So we're going to be maxing out on what we can with this. And then, of course, for the Millenniums, we are playing the one Senjin. Playing this at 3 alongside 3 of the Millennium Shield, and then I am trying out 1 of the Treasures and 1 of the Maiden. Now I was originally playing 2 of the Treasures, but I decided to go for a 1-on-1 because I'm not relying on the field spell as heavily. I've seen builds that actually cut this completely and just play these, but there are times when actually getting access to the Yugioh Temple is massively important, because the idea is every time you activate any of these to try and summon them, if you don't have Ankh to reveal, you're going to be burning for 2k, whereas the field spell basically acts as additional copies or additional access to stuff like the shield, to the Sanjin, or of course to the treasures if you want it. But more times than not, the idea is as long as you've got a monster in the hand, you're probably going to want to put shield into the spell and trap zone and then get your Senjin, and then what you do is you pay 2,000 life points, summon out the shield, searches you out the Ankh, then reveal the Ankh to summon out the Senjin, and then Senjin can then search you out either the Treasures or the Maiden. So Maiden for targeted protection, your Treasures for the aggression play, which is what I was doing more times than not. I was actually just going for Treasures, putting it into spell and trap zone, revealing the Ankh, summoning it down, and then activating the Ankh. Now more times than not, just by activating the Ankh, you're doing what you need to do. But because this deck is designed to go second and be more focused on that route, what you're doing when you get all of these monsters out before you use Ankh is you're going to start linking off to build and break apart your opponent's board, because you're going to be wanting to go down stuff like the Moon Goddess in order to go into the Underworld Goddess, and literally that combo off of the back of the field spell plus shield or any of your Millenniums, bar the Maiden, will get you there. And then all you need to do is get into the Exodia and then attack directly for 8k. So you've been able to clear off 2 cards along the way, or you've been able to bait out 2 forms of interaction. And that's all come from 2 cards. Speaking of this, we are playing 2 of the Yugioh Temple and the 1 Terraforming. I don't think it is as important as initial first thoughts. Like I first thought, okay, you're going to need to play this at 3, you're going to want Terraforming for a 4th copy, blah blah. But I've kind of found more times than not that what I'm doing is I'm actually siding out a Yugioh Temple, and I'll side in Secret Village of the Spellcasters, so I've never got the option to get either or if I want to. So it's not as pivotal, especially because we are focused on going second. Like you've got more of a chance of seeing it. But then when you are forced to go first, that's probably why you'd want to look at probably playing the 2. But this ratio has worked out perfectly fine for me. If you want to adapt to it, by all means, please do so. And then, of course, we've got the Obliterate Blaze. This card is mental. So 1 level 10 or higher monster on the field with Exodia in its original name gains these effects, which, of course, the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate does. You pay half your life points to destroy as many cards in the spells and trap zones as possible, and then equip 5 Forbidden One monsters from your hand and or deck to this card as equipped spells. This each gain 2,000 attack. Now keep in mind as well that even if you've had to put one of the pieces into the spell and trap zones off of the back of Temple, Ankh will put them back into the deck because all of the monsters are put back into the deck. So that will then allow you to recycle those, get good to go, get all the pieces, and then Obliterate Blaze, you go from there. And then if it attacks a defensive monster, you can piercing battle damage, so your opponent can't just sit on a wall and hope to defend, because your Obliterate Exodia will go through them, because not only will this gain life points equal to, gain attack equal to your life points, but it'll also gain the 10k off of the back of the Blaze as well. And then the Millennium Ankh, even though this recycles it, you need to see it. Like, you want to see this in your opening hand, because then it means all of your Millennium summons will be free. You don't need to pay that pesky 2,000 life points. And then it also shovels itself back into the deck. So you reveal 5 Forbidden 1 monsters from your hand, deck, and or face-up from the field, to then special on 1 Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate from the extra deck, and then shuffle the face-up monster cards you control into the deck except Exodia monster cards, whose original levels are 10 or higher, and Millennium monster cards. Also, you cannot summon for the rest of the turn after activating, and then shuffle this card into the deck instead of sending it to the graveyard. And now we are just playing basically hated cards of the format, I suppose. So Triple D Shifter, like this deck doesn't care about its graveyard, so you kind of need to play, if you can play the most hated hand trap of the format, the most anti-meta hand trap of the format, you play D Shifter. You don't care about your normal summon, so you're actually able to use Lava Golem. So many times you just go, look, cool, Lava Golem, get rid of 2 of those forms that might interrupt me, play Ankh, go into this guy, and all you really need to do is you're going to be doing 5,000 damage over the top of Lava Golem. But if you're able to get that additional 3k, whether that be through Obliterate, or whether that be through Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, you'll be able to kind of push in for the rest of the damage you need. Now remember, the Obliterate halves your life points, so when you're activating Dogwood, you kind of want to get to a crazy high, like you want to get to like 20,000 life points. When I activated this today, mainly in the FTK Gimmick Puppet lock, obviously they weren't able to FTK me because I activated Dogwood, but then I got up to like 14,000, and even then that was them stopping the combo quite early. So the idea behind this is it's a deterrent. It's also an option if you end up going first against Tempai, you've got a way to survive. If you go against the FTK, rather than you just sitting there and auto-losing because you don't see Shifter, but you might have the option of seeing Dogwood, you're still able to survive and get the game going, and then even if they don't give you all the life points you need, you can still push for the OTK the next turn. Now I am main decking 2 Pot of Prosperity, and I know instantly you're like, hang on a minute, but you're going to do half damage to your opponent. Yes, very, very true. But like I said, if you open up or you get access to your Obliterate Blaze and you've got the access of having 8,000 already, you're going to be doing half damage, but already you're going to be doing 14,000 damage. So you're going to be doing 14,000 damage, half that, so you're going to be doing 7,000 damage on your opponent's 8,000 life points. Not to mention any of your other Millennium monsters, apart from the shield, will then finish off the damage that you need to do. And that's before you take into account Spooky Dogwood, and you just need to kind of, with this card, think about how you're going to use it. And what I mean by that is if I open up my hand and I don't see Dogwood and I'm going second, I'm like, right, okay, I've got Prosperity, but the rest of my hand is absolutely fine. You don't activate it. But if you look at your hand, you go, I'm missing 1 card and I can complete an OTK here, you activate Prosperity. So it's one that you could take out if you really want to, but honestly, I never saw it, never used it, never needed it, but there are times where I could see this actually putting in a bit of work. For the rest of the board breakers, we do play 2 Lightning Storm just because it deals with front row and back row, followed up by 1 Snatch Steal, 1 Change of Heart, and 1 Mind Control. Obviously, these put in loads of work because you can steal your opponent's Appaloosa, protect everything you're trying to do, or you can steal one of their Floodgate monsters and then tribute it off, or just do whatever you need to do. And the last 2 cards I was playing is 2 Forbidden Droplet. So again, you can probably play this at 3 if you wanted to, but there were times where it's just like, okay, cool, well, I might need Forbidden Droplet to negate my opponent's cards because I haven't opened up a Lava Golem, but Lava Golem's going to get you the job done just as well. So you're just trying to play as many board-breaking cards as possible, and it is literally Sea Shifter, you're going to drop it during the draw phase so you don't get hit with like talents. Same with Mole Chummy from the side deck. You're going to drop them as early as possible, and then you get to put your hand down, pass, and go, right, okay, cool. Do what you need to do, because when it comes back to my turn, that's what I'm really going to start interacting with you for. And that kind of makes life just a little bit easier. It's just so nice to be able to sit back and go, yeah, cool, do what you need to do, and not stress and worry about the right hand traps at the right time. So before I show you the extra deck, I'm just going to show you the side decks so you have an idea of what I was playing. So 3 Phantasme with 3 Mole Chummies. So obviously the idea was just draw into my board breakers. And these also act as deterrents as well as protection. So obviously Phantasme is a protector, whereas Mole Chummy is a deterrent because it starts making your opponent go, do I want to give you that draw, or do I get more benefit by not putting this card on the board and not giving you that draw? So 3 Nibiru, because there were just times where there would be a combo deck that I was expecting something like a Ritual Beast that would just go absolutely ham, and then dropping a Nibiru on them can be really important. So this was massively helpful in the Yubel matchup because they weren't able to get to Phantom, and then being able to drop a Nibiru on them, put it in attack mode because it had 0 attack, and then just punch through it with the Exodia is really, really important. And then I've got for my go first card, Secret Village, Tikaboo, 2D Barrier, and then the 1 Exod Fire of Rage. I would consider putting this back into the main deck, so I was playing 41 on those off chances that you do get to go first, because more times than not your go first combo will end with the Exodia, which means rather than setting an Obliterate Blaze to deal with the back row, you just go for an Exod Fires of Rage, and then that deals with the entire board. But ultimately what I was doing is more times than not, it was kind of less effective for me going second because I was completing that OTK so quickly and consistently. There was just the times where I was like, okay, well, if I don't complete the OTK, I want to get this, I want to set it. But I've kind of had the space in the extra deck. I was like, side deck, sorry, I was like, I can go there, it's fine. For the extra deck, of course, we are playing triple Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. Like, you very rarely should ever need to go through 3 of these. Like, you go through 1, you should pretty much push and get the game done there. But on the odd chance you need to go into a 3rd or a 2nd, you've got the option for it. Especially if you're in a Cash Tira matchup and they try and rip this from the extra deck, this is the ideal core card to deal with. I was playing the Zombie Vampire and the Sheridan. What I really liked about these is there was a lot of time when I was playing Change of Heart, Mind Control, anything like that. As long as it had a level, I would then be able to use it to overlay. It actually came back to bite me in the Yugioh matchup because I stole one of their cards, overlaid into Zombie Vampire, used the effect to mill, which was absolutely fine. But then when it went back to their turn, they had talents. They used talents to steal the Vampire, milled, and then saw like loads of cards to just go off, which was pretty painful. Moon Closed Heavens to go into the Underworld Goddess. Obviously, the idea is that during your turn, you make the Moon of the Closed Heavens, use this effect to target a monster, and then link with that plus another one of your opponent's monsters and 1 more, which gets you into the Underworld Goddess. Now, the way that you can do this, again, off of the combo with the Wedju Temple and the Shield, is the idea is you're going to get everything onto the board already. You've got the ability to access Ankh to get into your Incarnate, but before you do all of that, you use Moon of the Closed Heavens, target one of your opponent's monsters, link with that, link with the other one, go into Underworld Goddess, do what you need to do, activate Ankh. Yes, this gets shuffled back, but then your Exodia should be technically attacking directly for a huge amount of life point damage. Standard SP and IP, like, you know, bread and butter. And then we've got Link Spider to turn one of your Exodia pieces into an effect monster when you bring it back from the graveyard with Selene. And the way that you can get access to Selene is off of the back of the Asura, the Earth Charmer. I just felt this was the most consistent one to make, considering all of your Millennium pieces were Earths. The only ones that are Darks are actually Exodia pieces, but you're probably going to be using Lava Golem as your normal summon, rather than wanting to normal summon an Exodia piece. Pentastag, if you can't get Obliterate and you still want to try and push for piercing damage, but again, chances are you're going to be using this not on your Exodia unless it's the turn after, because when you make this with Ankh, which is the only way you're going to make it, you're not going to be able to make anything else from that point on. So this one can definitely, like, very easily be cut. Like I said, the idea of all the others is IP is to be used during your opponent's turn, but the idea of Selene is that when you're working your way up, you work your way into an access code, and then you use an access code effect to banish pop, and then you activate Ankh, and that gives you your Exodia. Even though this goes back into the extra deck, you're still swinging for an open board at 8k damage, if not more. And then the one BLS Soldier of Chaos, because again, just on those odd times where you get an IP Masquerena and a level 7 or higher, which you will do in the form of the Senjin, you can get into a BLS, and it just gives you a very nice aggressive monster. The extra is very flexible. The only thing that I would advise you to have is the route to access code, because it helps you pick off the board, and then a route to the Heavenly and the Underworld Goddess, because again, it helps you just pick apart the board, and then your Exodias. Everything from that point on is completely flexible, completely up to you, and yeah, gonna go from there. I really do enjoy this deck. Like I said, I went with this with the idea that I was like, you know what, I just want to sit there, let you build your board, do whatever you need to do, break your board, and then activate Ankh, and you're either going to go, okay, cool, scoop, pass, whatever, or you're just going to let me summon out the Exodia, go, what does that do? And I go, against attack equal to my life points, you've got an empty board, I'm going to attack directly for game, and you go, yeah, okay, cool, game. So I kind of just went in it with a relatively basic mindset. Didn't want to overthink, didn't want to be like, do I activate this hand trap here, there, or wait, or what do I do with it? It was kind of like, cool, I see Shifter, activate it. Cool, I see Lava Golem, normal summon it. Cool, I see Ankh, OTK with it. Like this literally was the mindset of today, which is why it kind of did well and I enjoyed it. Because it was one of the ones where if you're not in the mood to think, rather than playing stun that everyone hates and everyone gets bored of, even the player playing it, you go for a bit of a OTK madness with Exodia, which is different and a little bit fun. Anyway, that is it for the entire profile. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.